What's up, meta nerds? The idea behind this video, which I really hope can become a series for all sorts of things, is to be that nerdy friend that stops every 5 seconds to explain the lore behind some scene. What most people make fun of, but what I suspect you will love if the algorithm brought us together here. And for my Halo nerds specifically, in case you're wondering, some stuff will of course be superficial, things like names, places, but also getting into the deepest of cuts and only using the original Bungie lore. This is the most coherent and meaningful story, and what you will be seeing is the original 2001 version of this game. Of course, there's tons of graphic updates, now full remakes, but I felt if I was putting this much work into it, I wanted to preserve the original look as well. This really was a moment in time that, yes, was surprising to me just how primitive the graphics looked, even as someone who played it back then, but we've just gotten so used to what is framed as the original graphics, like how you can toggle back and forth with the Master Chief Collection, but these really are heavily refined HD versions. What you'll be seeing in this video is the actual original in all its beauty. If you want to just see the entire Let's Play without my commentary, that is linked in the description. But seeing it like this is not only a more accurate time capsule, capturing this incredible and pivotal moment in gaming, coming out of the 90s, the start of modern FPS shooters, but as all Halo nerds preach in countless forums, in the comments on all kinds of videos, the horror moments in the atmosphere of the Forerunner sites especially have something that just was a perfect match with these original graphics. And don't worry, there'll be tons of pauses to appreciate the sound effects and music too. So I hope you just get an intense nostalgia feeling, while also learning all sorts of new things about this 25-year-old masterpiece. We open with a view of the Halo, this ring world with over 100-year presence in the sci-fi imagination. I'm reading Ring World by Larry Niven now, so expect a whole breakdown on that soon. But we can go even further back to the man that first conceived of something like a Halo, and see how this man's mind shapes the entire Halo lore. Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, born in 1857, is considered the father of astronautics, and a worldview called cosmism. A philosophical movement that stresses that it's our human destiny to use science and technology to overcome our biological limits, spread intelligent life throughout the universe, and to play an active role in the cosmic evolution of life and just general perpetuation of consciousness. He has this great quote, "Earth is the cradle of humanity, but one cannot live in the cradle forever." Now, he conceived all of this before the Wright brothers and the first manned flight. He was thinking of rocket ships and colonizing space at a time when people thought airplanes were impossible. But what he hoped humanity would become is what humanity becomes in the year 2552, the year we are in Halo Combat Evolved. He also believed in alien life, not from any personal contact or anything, but just from an understanding of how vast the universe was, and believing life to have evolved naturally from chemical processes that should be occurring on countless other worlds. And he believed in a type of panpsychism, at least of the type that we're kind of seeing with biologists like Michael Levin, but goes even a bit further. To very broadly summarize it would just be that tiny particles build up to more complex things, and so consciousness works the same way. They're just two expressions of the same fundamental thing. Which brings me to the Flood. I was torn on how and when to do these lore jump-ins, but it is a quarter century after the game came out. If you're watching something like this, you probably know the entire plot. You've at least heard of the Flood and the Forerunners, It's just funny, I love this so much that I do have this tiny fear that I'm spoiling the game for someone. But one of the oddest things about the Flood is that they are a Lovecraftian, horrifying perversion of the optimism of Tsiolkovsky's philosophy. Cosmism, with a panpsychic understanding, is twisted into the cosmic horror that is the Flood. Because the Flood ticks all the boxes of cosmism, overcoming all sorts of biological limits, spreading intelligent life throughout the universe. It plays a very active role, but there's only one thing it does not tick off. It is monstrous because it does all that while losing its humanity. The only thing that is different from the cosmism vision is that it was not human, which is the beauty in the lore here. Horror comes in when we're trying to optimize for some target, while forgetting that the whole point was human thriving. And of course, don't get distracted by the point that this is a universe with all kinds of alien species. It's the same point. The Flood is a grotesque amalgamation that is better at all of those supposed goals that people list out. It reproduces better than any individual, it's far more intelligent than any individual, but apparently we think there is something lost when you lose distinction, when you lose the individual. This loss of distinction at a species level down to a loss of distinction at the individual. Halo's message is that that is bad. And very interestingly, there is no canon explanation for the origins of the Flood. Everything ranges from that they were just a naturally formed evolutionary species, to bioengineered by the Forerunners, and I do think that the latter more fits with a good myth, trying to provide some actionable advice. The Halo Legends series, which fills in all of the lore, is technically a 343 production. Even though it came out in 2010, it was picked up by and finished by 343, not Bungie. But I really do think it still had a lot of the core points. There is a shot in Halo Legends which does all but explicitly say that their world was Earth. They show this Ecumenopolis, or this city-covered planet that has this moon. The Forerunner purged himself from the galaxy, and then the next shot is Earth with our moon. And of course, things like the portal at Voy are under Earth. I think they're playing with the idea that we're seeing Earth here. I'll get into some details on a species difference later, and we're not saying that point is for certain, it's just something to keep in mind. And it's very plausible that the Flood was a Forerunner creation gone wrong.
What is that?
I am a monument to all your sins.
This allows it to be more of a warning, especially when you consider the cosmism, panpsychism believing founding father of this kind of sci-fi. The Gravemind has all sorts of more advanced mental powers because he has more raw physical and therefore mental material to work with. And the Halo's purpose is actually not to kill all life. It's a very important detail most overlook. The Flood needs nervous systems, spinal cords and brains and their emergent minds.
It fed on intelligent life, and in doing so, became ever more intelligent itself. It was called Halo, an array of weapons scattered throughout the galaxy. Its effect would spread throughout known space, destroying the Flood and every thinking creature in the galaxy.
And so the Halo arrays do not destroy all life, but only intelligent life. And this is why species like humans, Sangheli, and Ungoi were cataloged, basically cloned or bio-3D printed, spun up and then reseeded on their original homeworlds after the Halos were fired. If we are the Forerunners, and we were seeded on Earth, I don't get why saying that the Forerunner homeworld was also Earth isn't something I really ever see in the Halo community. Again, in the original Bungie lore. With the new 343 stuff, we have a name for that planet, but I'm saying this is much more coherent and makes more sense looking at the original material. So everything with a spinal cord, a nervous system, was destroyed by the Halos, which prevented the food source for the Flood, and so it was believed to have finally killed it. Later with Guilty Spark, I get into the whole biomass issue. There is other food for the Flood, and you can't say that the only goal of all the Forerunners was to destroy the Flood completely if they purposely kept specimens alive to study.
The installation was specifically built to study and contain the Flood. Their survival as a race was dependent upon it. I am grateful to see that some of them survived to reproduce.
Don't worry, we'll get into that at the appropriate time. I just hope you see why all of this background really adds to this. So Tsiolkovsky was the first to propose a structure like Halo, an enormous man-made ring world and he believed in cosmism and panpsychism, which the Flood is a corruption of. And I think there's tons of evidence for my headcanon that Forerunner humans were the ones that created the Flood to begin with, and we are now fighting the shadow version monster of our previous selves. It makes this a true myth. There's actionable warnings in this. If you tick off every box on what you see as progress, and yet you lose just one thing, that thing being humanity, then you have actually invented something evil. Something that may threaten the very existence of humans for eons. Now that sounds very profound. In my obligatory statement for the deep Halo nerds again, I'm aware of how much the story changed behind the scenes, but that is actually the point. That's true for every creative work, yet the final product is profoundly coherent. In this age where everyone's talking about AI, with this polar pure good or pure bad framework, the Flood is like a biological version of what people worry about. It's bioslop to the digital AI slop. And yet still at my core, I've just read so much sci-fi, I am a tech optimist. I'm not as strictly anti-AI as some of you would think or hope. Cortana is of course crucial in saving humanity. I think this is a more realistic picture. Some AI are good in Halo, some bad. Some biological creatures were good, some bad. It's a more realistic and impactful message. 2 more fun facts and we'll get back to it. I know we haven't even gotten 5 seconds into this thing, but the writers also seem to be drawing from philosophers like Heraclitus.
The eons of human evolution, invention, aspiration, and war. Always war. The oldest, most enduring of human practices. The end of one war did not signal an end to all wars. It is a great irony that the nature of war always reveals the true nature of those who fight. And from their earliest days, humanity began to fight. War after war.
The point that the universe will constantly be in this flux state, tension and conflict, where of course it sucks to experience, but it is what the universe wants. And apparently what we want at a deeper level, as the opposite is something like the Flood. With the insurrection in Halo lore, it just seems like they're political realists. They just think history's kind of going to play out the same way it always has forever. But that this conflict shaped our minds and built our tech, and was and continues to be necessary for human survival. And like I said, I'm reading Ringworld by Larry Niven. You can see on some of the cover art, it looks just like the Halo ring we get in the game, which itself can be seen as only a sliver of an O'Neill cylinder, a real proposal that should technically work, and these are what inspire the so-called sides in Gundam. Alright, but back to the game. Where we are is in our galaxy. Everything in the Halo lore happens in the Orion arm of our Milky Way. This ship is the Pillar of Autumn. A lot of stuff in Halo seems to be like inspired by how Japanese media, where you get this odd combo of English words. Metal Gear Solid. It's an odd combo of words that just works for some reason. And the Pillar of Autumn is a Halcyon-class light cruiser. Just about every lore point I make has its own whole breakdown video on my channel, but the ship was 1,170 meters long, and it's nearly 3 times the Empire State Building. This was built at shipyards over Mars in the year 2507, which would be 13 years into the insurrection, a civil war across human colonies all over the galaxy, which was just the latest expression of a fundamental of civilization. People tend to centralize. Those centralized powers become strong enough to form distant colonies. Those colonies become increasingly independent and throw off what they see as now detrimental ties to some distant authority. Happened with wooden ships, and now it happened with spaceships. The United Earth Government, and its military branch, the United Nations Space Command, would try to keep the colonies from seceding for 32 years, up until the arrival of the Covenant in April 2526. This alien threat quickly united humanity, but also just made smaller insurrection militias less tenable. Only the massive war machine of the UNSC could stand up to them. Though there were some crucial battles where militia aid did help turn the tide of battle, again, humanity coming together, but in every battle of what would prove to be another 28 years of fighting, just about every time, there were more alien ships, and each one of them was more deadly. In the later game Halo Reach, we see the daring escape from humanity's second most important world after Earth, and Reach finally did fall to the Covenant. And the first voices we hear in the very first Halo game are Jacob Keyes and the AI Cortana doing a status check.
Cortana, all I need to know is did we lose them?
I think we both know the answer to that.
We made a blind jump. How did they...
Get here first? The Covenant ships have always been faster. As for tracking us all the way from Reach, at light speed my maneuvering options were limited.
We were running dark, yes?
Until we decelerated, no one could have missed the hole we tore in subspace. They were waiting for us on the far side of the planet.
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now, nothing serious. But I've isolated approach signatures for multiple CCS-class battle groups. Make it 3 capital ships per group. And in about 90 seconds, they'll be all over us.
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha.
Humans had inferior slipspace tech compared to the Coveys, and things quickly get funky when trying to go faster than the speed of light. Space-time relativity issues, and while they popped out of slipspace and into real space, even though Keyes describes that they found that rupture as after they arrived, we see the Covenant are already there. There's all sorts of causal issues when one person's FTL is faster than your faster-than-light travel. I've seen people explain this wrong in forums, but Cortana is saying that it's when they decelerated and left slipspace, it's that rupture that allowed the Coveys to track them. The Covenant only knew where they were when the Pillar of Autumn emerged near Halo, and yet from Keyes' point of view, the Covenant were already there when he arrived. Faster than light is a form of time travel, and this idea is played with a bit in the novel First Strike, which follows events 2 weeks before this game. Cortana mentions the ubiquitous Ket pattern, the CCS-class ship, that many of them were inbound, each bigger and stronger than the Pillar of Autumn. Oh yeah, and Cortana was originally purple.
Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha. I want everyone at their station.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone. And Cortana. Let's give our old friends a warm welcome.
I've already begun.
Attention, all combat personnel. Please report to your action station. Platoon, secure airlocks on deck 11. 14th platoon, rendezvous with 22nd Tactical at Bullhead Charlie 14.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill.
Once again, it is our job to finish what the fly boys started. We are leaving this ship, platoon, and engaging the Covenant on solid ground. When we meet the enemy, we will rip their skulls from their spines and toss them away, laughing. Am I right, Marines? Sir, yes, sir. Damn right I am. Now move it out. Double time.
And we meet Sergeant Johnson, who is in a way 78 years old. He was born in 2474, so it's 78 calendar years since his birth. But he was both part of the early super soldier program and had a lot of augmentation, which had positive health slowing effects. And he spent a lot of time in cryo for long slipspace journeys, so his biological age is closer to 50.
All you greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close, this is gonna be your lucky day.
I love that line. I don't think kids these days realize how little spoilers we had back then. You hear about blind playthroughs. I literally didn't know what to expect when playing this game. I knew less about them than these Marines did.
Whoa. Sir? Right. Let's thaw him out. Okay. Bringing low-level systems online. Cracking the case in 30 seconds. He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5! Tube shows green. Cycle complete. Sorry for the quick thaw, Master Chief. Things are a little hectic right now. The disorientation should pass quickly.
Welcome back, sir. We'll have you battle-ready stat.
Chief, please look around the room. I need to get a calibration reading for your battlesuit's diagnostics. Good. Thank you, sir.
I'm bringing your health monitors online, sir.
Vital signs look normal. No freezer burn. Okay, sir. Go ahead and climb out of the cryo tube.
Master Chief John 117 is a Spartan 2. The Spartan project has a very long, complex history, but it starts with the Office of Naval Intelligence, the sort of CIA of Halo. And they were trying to use every piece of tech, from augmentations to genetics, in order to create super soldiers. The Orion project had some success in the 2490s, but Dr. Catherine Halsey was the first to finally push for what they all knew had to be done. To see the full effects of all the tech they had access to, this would need to be introduced to children. Millions of people had died during the insurrection, and so this was seen as a small cost to pay for the greater good. How many hundreds of thousands of children would die if this galaxy-spanning conflict continued? So 75 children, all around 6 years old, were kidnapped and replaced with a Flash clone. These were genetically engineered to purposely die shortly after, due to what would just be seen by their family as a tragic, mysterious illness. But of course, these clones had a sort of mind themselves, and so really it's 150 conscious children that were the playthings of this program. But of those 75 selected, they were trained to the age of 14, where they would undergo the invasive biological augmentation surgeries, a process that killed 30 and paralyzed 12, leaving just 33 to continue in the Spartan 2 program. The armor is the Mjolnir Mark V, also developed by Dr. Halsey, which was a breakthrough that had a self-recharging energy shield system reverse-engineered from Kigyar point defense gauntlets. The weight was around 400 kilograms, or 880 pounds, and Chief's total weight is said to be around 1,000 pounds, which would make him way more lean than you would think, with John being 6 foot 10 inches, and when he's wearing the suit, he comes up to 7 feet 2 inches. And yes, he is a cyborg. There's of course the bone grafts and the other less high-tech stuff, but his brain and whole nervous system was integrated with electrical systems that powered and moved the suit, and could integrate with an AI. Cortana was also made by Dr. Halsey, and it is this neural lattice interface, a neural link, and it's very reasonable to think that something like this will be realized in the near future, let alone 500 years into the future, and with the background of this coming out of decades of war, with this CIA-esque dark money thrown at it. The Spartan 2 project all came together to finally provide the UNSC with its super soldier. And the name of this level, being Réveillé or Réveillé, is French for revive. And this moment is very Bungie. If you saw my video telling the story of Bungie's 90s era hit trilogy Marathon, which heavily influenced Halo, everything from the details in the level names to the reanimated cyborg in a moment of crisis, to later stuff we'll see with the Covenant, it's all just so cool that the Bungie DNA is so unique.
Sorry for the quick thaw, Master Chief. Things are a little hectic right now. The disorientation should pass quickly.
Welcome back, sir. We'll have you battle-ready stat.
Vital signs look normal. No freezer burn. Okay, sir. Go ahead and climb out of the cryo tube. I gave you a double dose of the wake-up stim. Take a quick walk around the cryo bay and join me at the optical diagnostic station when you're ready. Okay, bring his energy shields online, please.
All right. Shields read as fully charged.
Okay, sir. Bring them down to test the automatic recharge.
We'll go through a brief controller tutorial in the form of making sure Chief has control of himself after cryo, which Keys interrupts, saying that we are needed on the bridge immediately.
Bridge to Cryo 2, this is Captain Keys. Send the Master Chief to the bridge immediately.
Captain, we'll have to skip the weapons diagnostics and
On the double, crewman.
Aye, aye, sir. The skipper seems jumpy. We'd better get moving. We'll find you weapons later.
Okay, I'll leave the self-diagnostics running at least. Oh god, they're trying to get through the door! Security! Intruders in cryo too! Please don't!
Sam! Come on, we've got to get the hell out of here! This way!
And our first epic music sequence begins. We are a super soldier running around desperately in need of a weapon. We navigate through the corridors as allies exchange fire, before being escorted to the bridge by a standard Marine.
Stay back!
Alert, all guns.
Get clear, Chief!
7 and 12. Integrity needs to be saved.
Captain Keyes.
Good to see you, Master Chief. Things aren't going well. Cortana did her best, but we never really had a chance.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against a single Halcyon-class cruiser. With those odds, I'm content with 3, make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
Report!
It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Ma'am, fire control for the main cannon is offline!
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
All right, then. I'm initiating Cole Protocol Article 2.
This was a protocol positioned by Admiral Preston Cole that became quickly and completely adopted by all human ships, from civilian vessels to the most isolationist, insurrectionist, and of course all the UNSC. All would carry out these series of actions to ensure the Covenant could not find the location of Earth, including erasing all ship navigation data, destroying ships if necessary, and when fleeing, to make sure that jumps were randomized several times before ever coming near core worlds. The protocol was so effective that it took nearly 30 years for the Covenant to finally find Earth, and they did this via a Forerunner Luminary, a device that shows other Forerunner tech. So it wasn't that they really found the homeworld per se, it's just that they found the portal at Voy, Forerunner tech that was on Earth. So this Cole Protocol was actually perfectly adhered to over the entire course of the Human Covenant War.
We're abandoning the Autumn. That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking. The object we found, I'm going to try and land the Autumn on it.
With all due respect, sir, this war has enough dead heroes.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but it's not up to me. Protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship. Lock in a selection of emergency landing zones, upload them to my neural lace, and then sort yourself for a heart transfer.
Aye, aye, sir.
Which is where you come in, Chief. Get Cortana off this ship. Keep her safe from the enemy. If they capture her, they'll learn everything. Force deployment, weapons research. Earth.
I understand.
The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Excellent work, Cortana. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yank me.
Good luck, Master Chief.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Couple really big things here. We see that Keyes 2 has this neural lace, a Neuralink interface system. There are some great quotes from the original Halo books. Fall of Reach came out before the game did. This is actually a pretty common thing. Star Wars movies all did this too. Even the first Star Wars from 1977 had a book that came first for all the super nerds to get hyped on and do, well, basically what we're doing in this video now. fleshing out all this stuff that will just be mentioned in passing in the main media. But from that book, we get this line, quote, "Their standard issue UNSC neural chip, implanted in every UNSC soldier at induction, identified friendly soldiers and displayed them on their helmet HUDs. So all soldiers had something, but this was less than commanders and Spartans. As this quote from Grasslands points out, quote, "The implant wasn't a fancy neural net like Naomi's. It was just a transponder. No conspicuous interface protruding through the skin like a commander's or a Spartan's to plug stuff in. Mal had the monkey version that located and identified you to friendly forces. It still functioned after you were dead." And from the Fall of Reach book, we learn that Chief has only met Cortana weeks before. He met her on August 29th, 2552, goes into cryosleep the next day, and this scene in-game is on September 19th, 2552. We also learn that Cortana edited her own neural patterns to within 0.081% of John's, hoping that they would click, that they would be a better match, and thus she would fulfill Halsey's version of the best AI in the best super soldier.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Don't keep it loaded, son. You'll have to find ammo as you go.
That's a hilarious quote for a hardened wartime commander whose own ship is being boarded, and who knows this was a common tactic throughout decades of fighting. But it is great video game logic. This is the M6D Magnum, chambered in 12.7 by 40mm ammunition, which could be an armored piercing or high explosive rounds, with a 12-round magazine. 12.7mm is the bullet diameter, so that's the same as a 50 cal, but when you think about a 50 BMG sniper or something, those are more than twice the case length, 12.7 by 99mm. This Magnum is closest to a 500 Magnum at 41mm, or the 50 cal ARs like the Beowulf at 42mm. Our first kills are these lowly grunts, the species that quickly found out that shared religious community in the ancient alien tech worshipping covenant still came with a caste system. The grunts were made to carry out the lowest of tasks, in every form from city maintenance to the battlefield, and as we continue, we pick up the MA5B assault rifle, a full auto bullpup, so the magazine's in the rear, meaning you can have the same overall size of like an M4, but with a longer barrel. Seen in real-world guns like the AUG, FAMAS, and P90, which were iconic in the sci-fi and video game milieu throughout the 90s. The MA5B was 34.5 inches long, so it's right around the same size as an M4, with a magazine of 36 to 60 rounds, and an effective range of 500 meters. All of these guns are interacting with the helmet HUD system to show where the rounds will land without needing to aim down sights, represented with different bloom patterns for each gun. And we finally trade shots with an elite, the Warriors of the Covenant of the Sangheili species, who initially opposed the Sanshayum overlords for almost 100 years, dubbed the War of Beginnings or First Age of Conflict. While the Sangheili were the greatest warriors at an individual level, the Sanshayum used Forerunner tech, like the keyship, and eventually forced their submission. Their treaty would mark the start of the Covenant, which comes out to our year of 852 BC. So the Covenant has been around for 1700 years at the point we're fighting them in the game. And with this priestly class wielding ancient alien tech, controlling an entire species of elite warriors, together priest and warrior caste helped to grow the Covenant to absorb many other species, meaning they could add some more caste layers beneath them. But it was all focused on the ultimate goal of the Great Journey, a sort of anti-material, Gnostic-inspired belief that the material world was clearly inferior, just a means or arena of refinement. And we are challenged via this sort of scavenger hunt, finding the very real technology of the Forerunners scattered all across the galaxy, rewarding those that were able to find and utilize this tech, with the ultimate purpose of stripping away the material body, digitizing and divinizing those in the Covenant. Again, original Bungie lore book series Contact Harvest explains how the Prophet of Truth learned that humanity were the true reclaimers, the ones that could activate Forerunner tech, because we are Forerunner. You're probably aware of the debate on this, that even in the original Bungie lore, there's not a perfectly clear backstory for the Forerunners. There are details in Halo 3 that kind of complicate this. From the terminals, it could be implied that Forerunners and humans are a different species, But there's so few data points against the idea that it was always meant to be that Forerunners were humans, even also within Halo 3. It's in Halo 3 that you get the clearest, best evidence for this.
You are the child of my makers, inheritor of all they left behind. You are Forerunner. But this ring is mine.
And I think this really isn't confusing. We can just look to what human means in real-world science. I have a whole other channel about anthropology, archaeology, that kind of stuff. And one of the most fundamental points that I always have to reiterate is that all of the Homo genus are humans. Homo sapiens are just one type of human, but Homo neanderthalensis, Homo denisova, they're all human. Most people think human just means us. They might say humans made the Neanderthal go extinct. But those who know the field a little bit more know that Homo and human are interchangeable. And it's not like there's some super clear species distinction here. All of the Homo genus could, and very often did, interbreed. In common use, we think of species as different as a cow versus a dolphin. You might think, yeah, of course they're mammals, but they're different species, and species means incompatible. But that's not really true. The closer things are on the evolutionary tree means they're more and more likely to be able to interbreed. It's just a useful label to have this species distinction, but the framework was always that all Homo came from some sort of shared ancestor, each of them spreading out geographically, interbreeding with others, becoming more distinct over hundreds of thousands of years, while still having a decent amount of crossbreeding. The Forerunners and Homo sapiens of the year 2552 are both human, and if you think there's any Bungie lore detail that's saying that for sure the lore says we are different species, that's not as meaningful as you think. It's not some great contradiction. If there was some breakaway civilization amongst the Neanderthals, they left the primitive ones here on Earth, but that breakaway group became spacefaring and maybe developed the Flood and eventually built the Halos and made it so that only the Homo genus could activate it. Homo sapiens, us fellow humans, could activate it too. But not even a chimp or ape could. Definitely not an alien species like the Sanshayum or Sangheli. I hope that makes sense. Forerunners are humans, but humans doesn't have to mean the exact type of Homo sapiens that we are today, or could be in the year 2552. But as the firefight continues through this mess hall, we can pick up the plasma rifle, the Type 25 directed energy rifle. Sangheli are often shown with this obvious Japanese influence in their culture, and this naming convention is like World War II Japanese weapons, like the Type 38 or Type 99. This plasma rifle is only 24.5 inches long, and uses a battery to turn gas into superheated plasma, forming into these plasma balls that are accelerated via this pincher-like mechanism here. If you fire too quickly, it overheats and has to vent excess plasma. And we see that the elite also have energy shields and take far more shots to take down. Fighting through the ship, we get to this part.
What the hell? Did something just hit us?
They're using our lifeboat airlocks to attach their boarding craft. We go out and they come in. Clever bastards.
And we continue through the corridors with a mix of grunts and elites, crew and marines, very evocative of Bungie's marathon games with the Bobs. More Covey tech like these portable energy barriers, and we hear keys over the comms.
Mr. Captain, prepare to abandon ship. Combat teams, repel boarders until ops personnel are away. Immediately.
The life pods are launching. We should hurry. The Covenant are destroying the life pods. They really don't want us on that ring.
These can hit a top speed of 1,041 kilometers per hour or 647 miles per hour, and we hit our first horror game notes.
I'm detecting Covenant movement outside the access ways. Activating motion tracker. Let's find a safe exit. Wait. We need to get through that door, but it's been damaged by an
Music and this excellent use of darkness. Bungie was the master of evoking emotion from what would now seem like such primitive tools. And your minimap shows that you are alone and vastly outnumbered. But Bungie is also great at comedic relief. And understanding how a game works, making you feel like a superhero as we see the enemies surrounding our cryopod.
Crew and ops personnel on decks 9 through 12. Report to evac station now.
It looks like the Covenant wanted to catch you napping.
Pushing through these maintenance corridors, we get to ambush these aliens and meet up with more allies. These allies are calling out shots, the screams of panicked grunts, the weapon sound effects, and all the music just sucks you in. And we finally make it to a pod.
Last light, quickly, get aboard before it launches. The damage to the superstructure is extensive. Now would be a very good time to leave. The Autumn can take.
Punch it.
Aye, sir. We're disengaged, going for minimum safe distance.
We're gonna make it, aren't we, sir? I don't want to die out here.
Look!
What is that thing, Lieutenant?
Hell if I know, but we're landing on it.
I knew it! The Autumn's accelerating. Keys is going in manual.
Heads up, everyone, this is it. We're entering the ring's atmosphere in 5.
Sure you wouldn't rather take a seat?
We'll be fine.
If I still had fingers, they'd be crossed.
And to make sure this isn't lost to time, I forgot how great these loading screens were, with this drawn-out chant version.
We're coming in too fast! Damn! Air brake failure! They flew too early! I'm losing her! Brace for impact!
Chief was a bit off here. Everyone was not fine at all. They didn't have a top-of-the-line neuralinked mecha suit, so they were bashed to death on impact.
Chief? Chief, can you hear me? At last! Are you alright? Can you move? The others. The impact. There's nothing we can do.
But we are greeted with a line seared into Halo fans' minds for 20 plus years.
Warning. I've detected multiple Covenant dropships on approach. I recommend moving into those hills. If we're lucky, the Covenant will believe that everyone aboard this lifeboat died in the crash. Alert! Covenant dropship inbound. They must be looking for survivors. I recommend immediate evasion.
This is a DX-class Spirit dropship, 33 meters or 108 feet long, 60 feet wide, and can hit 680 miles per hour, carry 30 troops and 2 vehicles, and clears an LZ with its light plasma mortar and heavy plasma autocannon. As a first-person shooter with this seamless transition into stealth, horror, and wonder, as you just pause and take in this thing that is the Halo. I mean, as much as he hates humanity, it was a good question.
When you first saw Halo, were you blinded by its majesty?
And we get our first glimpse of the Banshee. Their animal-like, flowing, sleek profile, part jet, but slowly surveilling the area like a helicopter. The official name is the Ogle Pattern Attack Flyer, or Type 26A ground support aircraft, at 5.6 meters or 18 feet long, 22 feet wide, with 2 plasma bolt guns and 1 heavy fuel rod. Controlled by laying nearly flat, like a sort of Japanese motorcycle, and this whole scene just feels so alien, yet we get the juxtaposition of pine trees, birds singing, and a calming waterfall. Of course, this is quickly broken by 50 cal pistol fire, Spartan punches to Sangheili skulls, and more screaming grunts.
Cal, good to see you, sir. I thought we were the only ones who made it off the Pillar of Autumn.
It's a mess, sir. We're scattered all over this valley. We called for evac, but until you showed up, I thought we were cooked.
Sorry, Gen Z. Johnson was worried about being cooked 25 years ago, and we take this strange, brutalist, high-tech structure and fire on a new energy shield-wielding foe, the Kigyar, aka the Jackals. They're about 6 feet to even up to 6 feet 8 inches tall, but often seem much shorter because they hunch over, and Master Chief is around 7 foot. I should have mentioned this, but even the Ungoi, who are only 5 foot tall, but they're 250 pounds of wiry muscle. Terrifying for your average human. You weren't slapping those around unless you were in a Spartan suit. And the Sangheili average around 8 feet and weigh 350 pounds. We can press to ambush the next dropship as its side troop compartment opens, while dodging the Spirit's own cover fire, and pick up the iconic Needler. The Type 33 guided munitions launcher, these spikes are Sudanese crystals, coming from a moon of the Sangheili homeworld, and having them stick out allows the operator to see their ammunition and use it as a great melee weapon. These are a nightmare combo of the worst human type of weapons. Like heat-seeking rockets, each one can track, and they are designed to be incredibly destructive to organic tissue, and just bounce right off of hard surfaces, like the metal of the interior of ships. These are great for preventing any pirates during a boarding party, or on offense when you're trying to take somebody's ship. You just send a bunch of these down a corridor and they bounce around, not damaging the ship itself, but when these get into flesh, a chemical reaction causes these crystals to explode. Like an alien hollow point, these tiny shards spread out and cut through all sorts of nerves and blood vessels. And what's more is that if many of them quickly enter a target, we have this super combine effect, where the chemical reaction is more than the sum of its parts, resulting in this enormous and gruesome explosion. And it just makes this cool sound when you swing it around. This thing that we will come to know as a Forerunner structure has been sending off these massive blue plasma bolts, but that's actually data. These are data towers sending data to stations all across Halo, shooting it directly across the circle instead of along something like wires around the length of the circle. Like the data would be going too slow to just physically send it across. But I saw someone in a forum make a comparison to the famous 2019 black hole image. This raw data from the Event Horizon telescope took up more than 5 petabytes. It would be incredibly slow to email these files. So they were physically transferred. Hard drives flown to processing centers in Massachusetts and Germany. So the blue plasma beam is somehow acting like a physical storage medium. Oh, and this planet is a gas giant named Threshold, and the Halo's actual name is Installation 04. Sat in a Lagrange point between this world and its moon. Lagrange points are these areas in space where the gravitational pull between two bodies sort of cancels out so that anything you put there should stay there. And that's also a concept with the sides that we see in Gundam. We hear radiocom chatter between more survivors.
This is Pelican Echo 419. Anybody reading me? Repeat. Any UNSC personnel respond. Roger, Echo 419. This is Fire Team Charlie. We read you. Is that you, Fohammer? Roger, Fire Team Charlie. Good to hear from you. Fohammer, we need transportation to the command shuttle. I'm on my way.
Look, more lifeboats. They're coming in fast. If those lifeboats make it down, the Covenant are going to be right on top of them.
Fohammer, we need you to disengage your Warthog. The Master Chief and I are going to see if we can save some soldiers. Roger, Cortana.
The D-77 Pelican was the main dropship of the UNSC, 33.8 meters or 111 feet long, 25.3 meters or 83 feet wide, and moves 10 to 14 troops. One vehicle and with all sorts of configurations, but the standard is to have an M370 autocannon, and 2 Anvil air-to-surface missile pods with 8 missiles each. Humanity actually had better dropships and stealth ship technology. They're really the only 2 areas where we best the Covenant. I guess I'd throw in the Warthog too, that our standard ground-based troop vehicles shred through Covey rivals. And it's cool that the Warthog would become so tied to Halo, so iconic, but it was really in its DNA from the beginning. Just as much as our green armored Master Chief, we see in the late 90s, in the earliest versions of this concept of a game, one of the first things that they played with was this vehicle that was just so unique to drive.
Okay, Charlie Team, Warthog deployed. Saddle up and give them hell. Roger, Foehammer. Stand by to evac survivors and transport them to safety. That's affirmative. Echo 419, staying on station. Foehammer out.
This cave is not a natural formation. Someone built it, so it must lead somewhere. I've hacked into the Covenant battle network. They're actually broadcasting tactical data on unencrypted channels. We should show them who they're dealing with. Master Chief, I'm going to use your suit's transcom system to monitor their chatter.
So we quickly get to what I was describing in the opening, that the original graphics more match the artistic vision. Everything from the colors to the lack of detail, making these spaces feel bigger, darker, and more mysterious. Getting off and fighting our way through this ancient alien wonder, we activate a hard light bridge. Matter is just condensed energy, light made solid. That's literally what we see with this hard light tech.
There's new traffic on the Covenant battle network. A lot more crew made it off the Autumn than I had predicted. The captain really gave them hell. If we can find Captain Keyes and the other survivors, we have a chance to coordinate an effective resistance.
Making it back topside, we get another great score, and it so simply but efficiently establishes this incredible sci-fi feeling that just under the surface of this lush, Earth-like landscape is an enormous alien construct. And you just know that there's going to be a whole mystery connected to the builders of this mega project. Coming up to another outpost, we make our way below again. And the fact that we run into survivors in all these odd nooks and crannies, again, makes our allies seem far more alive and realistic than even what we see in so many later games. Again, this is 25 years ago, and just something about it felt so real, even when the graphics looked like this. As if they were off trying to survive and just fleeing into these cathedral-esque spaces underground. But with the Covenant forces mopped up, we lead our allies back up for evac. We can keep some Marines as a passenger and gunner, and when we see those patrolling Banshees, we open up on one of them with the 50 cal. This time a full-size 50 cal, which is dubbed an anti-aircraft gun. Snowballing our forces, we use these allies to save more allies, all with this literally looming mystery towering overhead and below our feet. But there's so much action that we can't ever fully stop to take it all in. It's this expertly subtle way to have this atmosphere just marinate our minds.
Echo 419 to Cortana. Foehammer's on station and ready for another pickup. Affirmative, Foehammer. We're ready for dust-off. Approach when ready. We're going to look for the last lifeboat, Echo 419. Good luck.
I've picked up reports that the Covenant has located and secured the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. The good news is the captain is still alive. The bad news is that the Covenant have captured the entire surviving command crew.
And some of the Marines are struck with awe at the real-life sight of a Spartan super soldier.
Oh, he's taller than I thought.
Of course, word and rumors spread about Spartans. Even the lowest down on the ship hierarchy would have known that there was one on board. From this rocky outcrop, we get our first taste of the sniper. The SRS 99C S2AM for anti-material, which means it is above 50 cal, at a 14.5 by 114mm cartridge, and we actually do have this exact round today in two Soviet-designed guns, the PTRD-41 anti-tank rifle from 1941, and the KPV from the late 40s, even into the 60s. They played with an infantry version, but it was deemed too heavy. It's usually mounted, and can penetrate 1.25 inches of armor at 500 yards. At 32 kilojoules, it is nearly twice the power of a 50 BMG, and 20 times a 5.56 round. So that's how you can one-shot through a Sangheili from across the map. HUD-augmented zooming-in shots with the Magnum help finish off the grunts, and it's on to the next threat.
We could use your help, sir.
Fall back! Everyone, fall On my way.
New traffic on the Covenant BattleNet. I found Captain Keyes. He's being held on a Covenant cruiser, the Truth and Reconciliation, a ship I disabled before we abandoned the Autumn. The Truth and Reconciliation touched down on a desert plateau roughly 300 kilometers upspin. There's our ride. Get aboard and let's get out of here.
Welcome aboard, Master Chief. Ready for dust off. We should move out, Lieutenant, and then we'll need your help on a rescue mission. The enemy has captured Captain Keyes and are holding him aboard one of their cruisers, the Truth and Reconciliation. The ship is currently holding position approximately 300 meters above the other end of this plateau.
So how do we get inside the ship if it's in the air? The Corps issued me a rifle, not wings.
There's a gravity lift that ferries troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. That's our ticket in.
Once we get inside the ship, I should be able to lock on to the tracking signal from Captain Keyes' neural implants.
Hit 'em, Marines! Go, go, go! The Corps ain't paying us by the hour!
Stick to the higher ground to the right. We should be able to recon the Covenant position without being spotted. I've detected Covenant stationary guns near the next pass. I recommend using your sniper rifle to take out the gunners while I call for Marine support.
Get ready to move in to support us, Sergeant. The Master Chief is going to covertly take out as many of the Covenant as he can. Don't open fire until you hear the enemy return fire on us. That should let us keep the element of surprise.
Let 'em have it! Whoa!
Alert! A Covenant is making a run for that stationary gun. Take him out!
Got him! Nice shot! Way to go! Oh, man! You some for me, huh?
My fault!
Using our fancy night vision feature in the sniper scope, we can neutralize the perimeter, but eventually muzzle flashes and plasma bolts will light up the darkness. And as sectors of the canyon clear, there's this combo of stealth and all-out chaos under this looming gas giant, set to unique, perfect music. We help pave the way for Marines to move in and get our hands on one of the most useful of Covenant technologies, active camo. By bending light around the user, one only appears as a faint mirage blur.
The Covenant use a gravity lift, troops and supplies between the ship and the surface. We need to ambush them at the grav lift's loading zone and use the lift to enter the ship.
These gravity lifts are pretty simple but awesome tech. This circle platform part with the teeth-looking things just detach and are floated down. And this acts like an anchor, keeping the lift and the ship in the same spot. Anchor-ramp combo. And now we meet the Hunters. These warriors are around 12 feet tall, 10,000 pounds, and are actually a collection of worms all working together. A Lekgolo is one of these single worms, forming what is called a gestalt of Lekgolo. They become the Megalekgogo, or the Latin species designation that humanity gives them is Ophis congregatio, meaning snake congregation, a serpent union. And they have some of the most fascinating and insane lore. Their homeworld of T is near the Sangheli homeworld of Urs. Apparently it's a small galaxy after all, but the luminaries led the Covenant here in relatively recent times. And supposedly, a massive Forerunner relic was here. And well, these worms eat metal, and the asteroid-like ring that surrounds this world was chewed up into bits, breaking off pieces of this massive Forerunner structure. As worms became isolated on parts as they broke off and stayed in orbit, They ate more and broke off more, creating this debris field that became a ring. Not a ring in the Halo sense, but in like asteroid rings or the rings of Saturn. The hunter's arms end in a shield on one and an assault cannon on the other. This is a form of fuel rod weapon, like the standalone fuel rod used by infantry, and that cannon on the Banshee.
This area is clear. No hostiles present. Marines! Secure the ground lift and prepare for boarding! Yes, sir!
Once we're inside the ship, I can home in on the captain's command neural interface. He'll probably be in or near the ship's brig, which should narrow our search.
We're in. I've got a good lock on the captain's CNI transponder. No Covenant defenses detected.
What? There's no Covenant here? Think maybe nobody's home.
Contact! Lots of contact!
As soon as we are in, we see how this staging area works. Vehicles would simply move into position to descend. And everywhere we look, we see Sangheili writing, both painted on the walls and in holographic displays. The deep purples of everything contrast incredibly with the gray cathedral interiors of the Forerunner. And just from a writing and video game excellence point, from Johnson's rallying speech when our ship was boarded, now we are raiding their ship.
We can use the side passages to find a way around.
Chief, let's see if we can find a way to open this door.
And we hear Cortana mumbling, ranting to herself about...
Wait a moment. I'm going to access the Covenant BattleNet and locate an override code to open a door. Working on it.
I'd like to see you crack a logic.
And hunters show what kind of power there is in literally 10,000 pounds of wiry muscle.
How about some of this?
Cortana to Foehammer. We need additional support troops. We're going to open the shuttle bay door again, move in and drop off reserve troops on my signal. I copy, Cortana. Echo 419 standing by for your signal. Cortana to Echo 419. The shuttle bay door is open. You can start your approach. Roger. Echo 419 inbound.
The pilot Foehammer that we keep working with here is voiced by Dr. Tanya Pettiford-Watts, who played Dr. Shelby in the pilot episode of Twin Peaks. As the Pelican makes its way in, we clear out some more coveys, and as you go through all these purple alien corridors, I have to mention again, the Marathon Bungie DNA is so cool once you see it. Once you appreciate the early work, you just see this through line all the way up to Destiny. We make it to the barracks and free keys.
Coming here was reckless. You two know better than this. Thanks. Marines, lock and load your weapons. Let's be ready to move.
Okay, yes, sir.
While the Covenant had us locked up in here, I overheard the guards talking about this ring world. They call it Halo.
One moment, sir. Accessing the Covenant BattleNet. According to the data in their networks, the ring has some kind of deep religious significance. If I'm analyzing this correctly, they believe that Halo is some kind of weapon, one with vast, unimaginable power.
That's true. The Covenant kept saying that whoever controls Halo controls the fate of the universe.
Now I see. I have intercepted a number messages about a Covenant search team scouting for a control room. I thought they were looking for the bridge of a cruiser that I damaged during the battle above the ring. But they must be looking for Halo's control room.
That's bad news. If Halo is a weapon, and the Covenant gain control of it, they'll use it against us and wipe out the entire human race. Chief, Cortana, I have a new mission for you. We need to beat the Covenant to Halo's control room. Marines, let's move!
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Chief, you have the point.
We should head back to the shuttle bay and call for evac.
Of course, like I said in the intro, the real surprise moment here can only be had when you play this truly blind for the first time. Before this moment, learning that there was this whole odd religious angle here, when there was nothing really even hinting at this just being more than a Starship Troopers video game, you're hit with just this whole deeper angle, and of course the next ramping up will be with the Flood. But how cool is it to think that only at this moment is the whole Covenant being religious extremist angle to all this becomes a factor to this FPS. And the use of the Halo theme, the religious choir singing, it just makes it all click. And we get this hilarious example that we need to remember from multiplayer, that invisibility does not extend to your energy sword.
We made it.
Cortana to Echo 419. We have the captain and need extraction on the double. Negative, Cortana. I've been engaged by Covenant air patrols, and I'm having a tough time shaking them. You'll be better off finding your own ride. Sorry. Acknowledged, Foehammer. Cortana out.
Air support is cut off, Captain. We need to hold here until she can move in.
Oh, man, we're trapped in here. We're screwed. We're screwed, man.
Stow the belly aching, soldier. Remember, you're a leatherneck. Cortana, if you and the Chief can get us into one of those Covenant dropships, I can fly us out of here.
Yes, Captain. There's a Covenant dropship still docked.
How you doing, amigo?
That's it. The dropship is loose.
Everybody, mount up. Let's get on board.
Give me a minute to interface with the ship's controls.
No need. I'll take this bird out myself.
Captain! Hunters!
Hang on.
Nice one, sir.
Time for a little payback.
The Covenant believe that what they call the silent cartographer is somewhere under this island. The cartographer is a map room that will lead us to Halo's control center. The island has multiple structures and installations. One of them contains the map room.
We're approaching the LZ. It's gonna be hot. Get set to come out swinging. Touchdown! Hit it, Marines!
Go, go, go!
I have nothing really to add here except that it is cool that one of the most nostalgia-inducing levels is very similar to a lot of the earliest test footage we ever saw of Halo. And we have this new detail in the back of our minds, with all this incredible action happening, making sure that it's a fun shooter first and foremost, but it adds and enhances with this deeper story while not forcing you to engage with it. You're fighting near these strange structures which apparently are not human nor Covenant, but some third mysterious force, as glimpses of other parts of Halo split the skyline.
Area secure.
Affirmative. Echo 419 inbound. Somebody order a warthog. You know our motto. We deliver.
Watch it!
Okay, let's move out. Let's go find the map room that will show us the location of Halo's control center.
There it is!
There, in the cliff wall. I'll bet the silent cartographer is somewhere inside that facility.
Fire
Firing! Hey! Good one!
My analysis indicates that the map room should be at the bottom floor of this facility. Don't let them lock the doors. Interesting. I underestimated the Covenant's understanding of Halo subsystems. They've locked the doors, and we don't have enough firepower to get through them.
Cortana to Keys.
Go ahead, Cortana. Have you found the control center?
Negative, Captain. The Covenant have impeded our progress. We can't proceed unless we can disable this installation's security system.
Understood. We're still en route to the objective. I may be out of contact when we get there. Here are your orders. I want you to use any means necessary to force your way into the facility and find Halo's control center. We have to get to the center before the Covenant. Failure is not an option.
Echo 419 to ground teams. I'll stay on station and keep an eye out for Covenant forces.
Second squad, ready to roll as soon as everybody's topside. LZ looks secure, sir. Nothing moving. Good luck, people. Keys out.
This feeling that our commander does not know where to go, and our Warthog, adds just this bit of, I'm not even sure what to call it, but it's this proto-open world feeling. As if you are really exploring and not just on these obvious rails or following some map icon. We find another Forerunner construct and a pair of hunters, but still need to press on through this artificially supported wilderness. But finally we know we found the place with another unique and incredible music score.
Use the holo panel to shut down the security system. Good. That should open the door that leads into the main shaft.
Mayday! Mayday! Dropship Bravo 22 taking enemy fire! Repeat, we are under heavy fire and are losing altitude!
Understood. We're on our way.
Bravo 22 was bringing us some heavy weapons. After I saw we were up against hunters, I thought you could use them. Let's move down the beach. Keep an eye out for any cargo we can salvage.
With our rocket launchers salvaged, we make our way further down to the beach and take out the hunters with those rockets, or save them for this sci-fi dungeon crawl that we're about to embark on. We fight through wave after wave as we go deeper and deeper into the structure. And note that while a lot of the details is just stylized, hard lines, generic sci-fi stuff, if you look here, this looks like the face of the Forerunners. I should say their helmet, their armor, the look of the Forerunners from Halo Legends. Which, like I said before, it's just this weird blend where it is still a lot of Bungie stuff, even if it was produced by 343.
We'll be in a tight spot if we don't get out of here before additional reinforcements arrive. Let's find that map.
With our active camo, it turns into an FPS stealth game with some broken alien spines, and we have our first interaction with this strange alien tech turned holy site.
There. That holo panel should activate the map. Analyzing. Halo's control center is located there. That structure appears to be some sort of temple or shrine, if I've interpreted this correctly. Shrine is an unlikely place to put such a significant installation.
Cortana to Captain Keys.
The captain has dropped out of contact, Cortana. His ship may be out of range or having equipment problems.
Keep trying. Let me know when you've re-established contact, and then tell him that the Master Chief and I have determined the location of the control center. We'll be heading there as soon as we're topside.
Affirmative. Foehammer out.
Cortana to Echo 419. The Chief and I are topside, requesting pickup.
Roger. On my way.
Let's get moving. Foehammer, here are coordinates and a flight plan I've worked out.
Cortana, these coordinates are underground.
The Covenant did a thorough seismic scan, and my analysis shows that Halo is honeycombed with deep tunnels, which circle the whole ring.
I hope your analysis is on the money, Cortana. This delicate won't turn on a dime.
Look on the bright side, Foehammer. The last thing the Covenant will expect is an aerial insertion from underground.
Iconic line, of course, and I'm only bringing this up because it is a interesting lore detail, but it is just pretty funny on all sorts of levels. And I wrote this section before anybody knew about the new ODST in the remake, so that makes this even funnier at the time of me recording this. But Starship Troopers the movie came out in 1997, so 4 years before this game was released. But the Robert Heinlein novel was written in 1959, and in both, pilots are almost always women. I think it is always, I'm just saying almost to be safe here. But funny enough, there's all sorts of issues people have with Heinlein, which of course he means he must lean one direction instead of the other. As the greatest Jedi general once said, I'm not brave enough for politics. That's not my point here. As people try to put this author in a rigid category, just so that they don't have to think deeply about this very strange person. He's unique and interesting, and he's probably wrong on a bunch of stuff, and you're going to disagree with him on a bunch of stuff. But in 1959, he was writing about a future with more gender equality and all sorts of tech. In that scenario, women would actually make for better space pilots, with his sort of pop-sci understanding of some research pointing towards better reaction time, pain tolerance, and even saying that having a cooler head under combat in areas where physical strength isn't the determining factor, women would actually tend to be better. They would better pilot war machines, whereas men still might make up most of the infantry. Doesn't matter if the rationale for this was true or false, people usually roast Heinlein for how he writes women dialogue, and how he has men describe their bodies. Point is, women pilots and male boots on the ground could be another Starship Troopers influence in the UNSC. A lot of people described Halo when it came out as a sort of Starship Trooper-inspired video game. Rah-rah, futuristic Marines fighting aliens. But what actually triggered this point in my head that I laughed at and I told my wife and we were making fun of it, and she said I should just include it. But how funny and perfect is it that an action-packed, ultimate boy, in air quotes, sort of video game,
when it seems like all is lost, when it feels as if you have no hope, when you are outnumbered, overpowered, and they've got you cornered, that's when you realize your last best hope is you. Halo, Combat Evolved, rated M for mature.
Just cool vehicles and guns and shooting up aliens, dismissed by the people who like to checklist stuff out, the kind of people that sadly might have influenced the remake. How funny that Halo back in 2001 passed the Bechdel test, which sees if a piece of media has scenes where two women are talking about something other than a man. The superficial checklist corporate types would definitely look down on the chaotic kind of boys club that was early Bungie. And yet they don't just skate by the Bechdel test, they have crucial characters. Of course, Dr. Halsey is the genius behind Chief, the armor, Spartans, and Cortana, while also not being some perfect, flawless woman either. That isn't some weird 343 thing from Halo 4 to paint her as having this dark side, an evil genius. That's what makes her interesting. She and Cortana could both be seen as the only adults in the room. Ironically, the ones with the cojones to do what was needed. And Foehammer is a black female voice actress that is with us throughout the entire game, strategizing and planning with Cortana, and of course later we get Miranda keys. I spent too long on this point already, it's just something funny that I wanted to bring up. But with that, we take a comedic grunt break.
This is as far as I can go. Roger that. We'll be able to find our way to the control center from here. Good luck. Foehammer out.
Now, it is hilarious to make this point after my previous one, but the level title is I Would Have Been Your Daddy, ... hinting there is something more there, and the whole phrase is I would have been your daddy, but the dog beat me over the fence, meaning your mom is a B-word, a female dog. And again, we fight through this Forerunner machinery, which aids the storytelling as it seems to just be doing its own thing, silently running like it has for eons, unfazed by the chaos erupting around it.
Interesting. The weather patterns here seem natural, not artificial. I wonder if the ring's environment systems are malfunctioning, or if the designers wanted the installation to have inclement weather.
This is Fireteam Zulu requesting immediate assistance from any UNSC forces. Does anyone copy? Over.
I didn't think there were any human forces left on this part of the ring.
Cortana to Fireteam Zulu. I read you. Fireteam Zulu, this is Cortana. Hold position. We're on our way.
Roger that. Make it quick.
Catch some grunts sleeping on guard duty, and make your way into the snow and tango with the ghost, the Caro Ebta pattern Type 32 rapid attack vehicle, measuring 4.2 meters or 14 feet long, weighing 1,233 pounds, and hitting a top speed of 82 miles per hour, though slow to maneuver with its boosted gravity propulsion drive. Firing 2 Class 2 directed energy cannons, and we descend into one of the most grand chambers yet.
The Covenant placed their tanks to defend the entrance to the tunnel.
Covered in those Forerunner symbols, and really getting into the sheer scale of these builders who were lost to time. It's kind of funny, I don't know why this room triggered this thought, but like with the super advanced Covenant, we see the same "it was aliens" reaction. On Earth today, when humans find tech that they think is beyond their ability, they say it must be aliens. Well, when the aliens, the Sanshayum, the Sanghili, when those aliens look around and think, well, this couldn't be us, they go a whole nother step and say it must have been literal gods. Fighting just a bit more, and we are back in, air quotes, nature, and we finally face off against the Covenant tank. We saw the Wraith in the staging area of the CCS class, but now it's on the battlefield. The Zerto pattern mortar tank, or the Type 26 assault gun carriage, at 8.8 meters or 30 feet long, it had a max speed of 51 miles per hour, and the same grav tech as the Ghost, armed with one Type 26 35cm directed energy mortar, one Type 26 directed energy weapon emplacement, and with a crew of 2, a driver and a gunner. But this was not pilotable. Only in Halo 2 could we jump in these as the Chief. More of that simple but effective way of making this Halo feel alive, we find pockets of Marines fighting in caverns, and we move higher up into this snow-covered ridge.
We need to get up this ridge.
Marines, hold your positions. We'll handle those guns.
Master Chief, we should scale the ridge and get below the stationary guns.
Crafty chiefs will try to get their ghosts through these halls, creating multiple levels of desecration in this holy site. With alien blood puddling in those Forerunner glyph etchings, we make it to an elevator. send more sleeping grunts on their great journey. Maybe if they were good enough, they can even reincarnate as a reclaimer. But we make our way across another hard light harnessing bridge, then down into another structure, equal parts cathedral and nuclear power plant. And do it again, but now with epic music and incoming Banshee fire. Followed by more architectural awesomeness with perfect ambiance. With our own Banshee, this is really the first time we see what we will come to know as these iconic sharp-edged structures that we later see with the Ark. Whatever you want to call this shape, becomes iconic of the Forerunner. And this spot is about as heavily defended as you would expect.
This is it, Halo's control center. Terminal, try there.
You all right?
Never been better. You can't imagine the wealth of information. The knowledge, so much, so fast. It's glorious.
I want to pause here to remind everyone that in the book that Bungie paired to come out before the game, making sure you understand a little bit more about Cortana, they make sure we know that the most ambitious and intelligent AI of all time reformed herself to be a match for the greatest warrior of all time, to sort of have this ultimate body to operate in the world with. There was always this play with the threat of Cortana becoming too ambitious, too power-hungry, too consumed with a want for more knowledge.
So, what sort of weapon is it?
What are you talking about?
Let's stay focused. Halo, how do we use it against the Covenant?
This ring isn't a cudgel, you barbarian. It's something else. Something much more important. The Covenant were right. This ring, it's Forerunner. Give me a second to access. Yes, the Forerunner built this place, what they called a fortress world, in order to... Wait. No, that can't be. Oh, those Covenant fools. They must have known. There must have been signs.
Slow down. You're losing me.
The Covenant found something, buried in this ring, something horrible, and now they're afraid.
Something buried? Where?
The captain. We've got to stop the captain.
Keys? What
the
are we...
weapons cache he's looking for. It's not really... We can't let him get inside.
I don't understand.
There's no time. Get out of here, find keys, stop him. Before it's too late!
Halfway through the game, we get the culmination of this real threat. It's hard to remember how little we knew back then, but this is the very first time you would have heard the name Forerunner, and that there is some other weapon locked away by these ancient, seemingly lost, seemingly superior third faction. These ancient aliens locked away some horror on this autonomous, artificial ring world, and the Covenant, with their odd religious fascination with this site, are somehow about to unleash that weapon.
Dropship was from this area. That was over 12 hours ago. When you locate Captain Keyes, radio in, and I'll come pick you up.
In our third biome, now a humid, fog-covered jungle, making our way through the night, past crashed starships and scattered Covenant that all seemed even more scared than we are. We take this elevator down deeper and deeper into the darkness, and while we find some of the same old enemies, we've gone from space marines to purple bright-colored alien corridors, the gray ancient forerunners, to this strange green goo dripping down this shaft, followed by eerie silence and halls covered in alien blood, unlike anything we have seen so far. And then we find one of our own.
Stay back! Stay back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me! Don't touch me!
Even parts of the Forerunner tech seem damaged. Fire and scarring of the battle that we again haven't seen yet. Moving deeper, we activate a light bridge and pass by these two symbols, which I was very surprised to not find any explanation for. These are just called the sigils of the control room of Installation 04. Each Halo has a sigil, and this is 04, and in this control area, we see other Halo sigils like Installation 02.
This old stuff, Sarge.
Watch your mouth, son. This stuff is your history. It should remind you grunts what we're fighting to protect.
Hey, if the Covenant want to wipe out this particular part of my history, that's fine by me.
Yeah, better it than us.
You ask them real nice next time you see him, Vicente. I'm sure they'll be happy to oblige.
LZ looks clear. I'm bringing us down.
Go, go, go! Stay close, Jenkins. Mendoza, move it up! Wait here for the captain and his squad, then get your ass inside.
Sir!
Okay, let's move!
Which is weird, right? I mean, look at it. Something scrambled the insides.
What's that? Plasma scoring?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was an accident, you know, friendly fire or something?
What do we have, Sergeant?
Looks like a Covenant patrol. Badass elite units. All KIA.
Real pretty. Friend of yours?
Nah, we just met.
Right, well, let's get this door open.
I'll try, sir. But it looks like these Covenant worked pretty hard to lock it down.
Just do it, son.
Yes, sir. Got a bad feeling about this.
Boy, you always got a bad feeling about something.
Sarge, can you hear me?
What's going on, soldier?
We've got contact! Lots of them! But they're not Covenant! They're just tearing through us! What the... Oh, no!
Corporal, do you copy? Over!
Mendoza, get your ass back up to second squad's position and find out what the hell is going on.
But I don't have time for your lip, soldier. I gave you an order.
Sarge! Listen!
What is that?
Where's that coming from, Mendoza?
I don't... There! Mira!
Hold still! Hold still!
Let him have it! Sergeant, we're surrounded.
God damn it, Jenkins! Fire your weapons!
There are too many, Sarge!
Don't even think about it, Marine.
Listen, local!
Jenkins!
Finally, we meet our last and greatest threat. These green, pus-filled, parasite-like swarming threats we will come to know as the Flood. Playing off of Bungie's love of religious history and symbolism, stories of floods destroying civilizations have been found all over the world, and apparently in space as well. Perhaps some echo of this, but they are so weak that single shots kill them, causing this chain reaction that helps to clear their ranks. And yet somehow together they are strong enough to bust open Forerunner doors. A horrifying foreshadowing of their combined strength. Then a humanoid leaps at us, the corrupted form of an elite. Pushing through more infested forms, we see below that pure pandemonium has erupted. As we get closer to escaping, we see the Flood forms are intelligent enough to wield weapons. And the sigils on the walls actually can help us navigate what quickly feels like a labyrinth or prison. These sigils are really just there to evoke the mystery of the Forerunner, make it sound spooky and different, but it does get at the core of Bungie art. Like Tsiolkovsky, yes, in some ways they are just a pure hard sci-fi, but they can also just work in these supposedly woo-woo elements, horror and panpsychism mentioned in the beginning, like how the Flood have abilities like telepathy that most would put in the fantasy realm. It works together if you just develop a world where this is all true. It isn't that it's science and fantasy put together. Bungie writers just seem to have known about a lot of real-world ideas, philosophies, religions, whatever you want to call them. That, like how we can see on the Esoterica channel here on YouTube, so many occult magicians and alchemists, sorcerers, whatever you call them, people are surprised to see how scientific they were in their approach. Like how Justin Sledge says that Isaac Newton was both the last sorcerer and the first scientist. It isn't that he was one or the other. Bungie created this universe where a technologically advanced people mastered all sorts of aspects of our reality, from what we might call physics today, but also to what we might dismiss as magic or woo-woo. Sigils, which just means little signs, goes all the way back to Mesopotamia, Egypt, through Greece, and into the medieval periods. The most famous you might have seen are the planetary sigils and the Lesser Keys of Solomon, said to be all ways of interacting with spirits. Over the years, since combat evolved, there are dozens of sigils in Halo lore, and I hate to say it, it doesn't seem like they're as thought out. Their primary purpose is for navigation in the levels and just to be this cool factor, making the Forerunners seem to have this spooky or mysterious side. Many seem like they should be positioned to hint at some great meaning, but also some symbols are just the same ones that appear on plasma grenades, things manufactured by the Covenant. And of course, you could say that they got that symbol from real Forerunner sites, but within the sites themselves and over all these years, there's still no meaning for each or like some hieroglyphic reading. The only hard rule there seems to be is that red indicates where a flood infection is. But it's funny, that's not deep either. You could have made any symbol red, and it does the same job. And just to make sure I don't forget this, the Reclaimer symbol is the Marathon symbol from their previous games, which is an abstract symbol supposed to be the sign of the colony ship that was carved into a moon. So this tunnel to this inhabited area in the moon. We see here a really cool detail that the Floods still do not seem to master these weapons, as if they're getting their bearings. They shoot at a much slower rate with the assault rifle and needler than we ever see with the Covenant or how the players do. It is unnaturally slow, like something is trying to learn how to pilot the host body and figure out the weapon controls. With this trio of sigils, we know we're almost out. It is hard fighting, but we make it back to the elevator.
This is Echo 419. Chief, is that you? I lost your signal when you disappeared inside the structure. What's going on down there? I'm tracking movement all over the place.
As if this jungle couldn't get any scarier, this plague that apparently was the weapon that the Forerunners so feared would escape from this ancient labyrinth, well, now it's roaming the darkness. And we have what appear to be odd allies in the form of machines using laser weapons to burn away the flood, and this odd eyeball-like floating machine. There are all sorts of sentinels that do everything from construction and maintenance to specializing in defense. The eyeball-like monitors, they're like the managers, meant to keep everything functional for eons after the Forerunners remove themselves from the galaxy. It's funny to think of it this way, but the much larger CCS pattern is the Covenant LARPing as a Sentinel, as what we call the Sentinel beam is a sterilization beam, meant to keep the Halo rings or any Forerunner site pure, keep it as envisioned by the designers, which of course the biggest threat would be the Flood. The S in CCS stands for Salvation, but what that means is it is a dedicated warship capable of cleansing their enemies with holy fire. What humanity would come to call their glassing beam was referred to by the Covenant as an excavation beam, because it was originally just a powerful tool, like dynamite, that could clear debris and reveal Forerunner sites. It had this archaeological purpose, but was turned into a weapon, one that ends up being used to purify the galaxy. They see this as a giant sentinel. The prophets saw their killing off of humanity as just like we would using some cleaner to kill germs. Now, the Covenant had been fighting these Sentinels on countless Forerunner sites before Halo. They just saw this as a kind of heroic selection process that the Forerunners were testing people, seeing who would be worthy of this holy site. The machines themselves were 3 meters or 9 feet long, with these camera eyes and manipulator arms protected by energy shields. The monitor, what the Covenant call oracles, were just under 2 feet by 2 feet, and had a laser weapon and pulse weapon, and stronger body casing and shielding. These were very intelligent. We can debate if artificially intelligent or not, but the most clear examples of consciousness transfer are from the later 343 books. But the way they are shown as crucial aids to the Forerunner life workers who created and maintained countless life forms, I don't think they would use the term artificial intelligence the way we do. Maybe more along the lines of biologists like Michael Levin. I mentioned his work earlier, which broadly focuses on how supposedly non-intelligent aspects of life still come together for complex shared goals, showing that groups of cells use bioelectric signals, not just genes, to communicate, coordinate insanely complex development, working together from cells up to organs and making a whole body. He proposes that cells exhibit a primitive form of goal-directed problem-solving, suggesting that intelligence and cognition may exist on a continuum, that it isn't just bound to nervous systems. I think that fits with the broader Tsiolkovsky panpsychism foundations that we started with, and now seen taken to horrifying heights with the Flood. Similarly, Cortana to these constructs are not artificial intelligence, they're just digital life. Not superior, not inferior, just different.
Greetings. I am the monitor of Installation 04. I am 343 Guilty Spark. Someone has released the Flood. My function is to prevent it from leaving this installation, but I require your assistance. Come, this way.
Chief, I've lost your signal! Where'd you go? Chief! Chief!
must collect the index before we can activate the installation.
As we will see, his grasp of time is wonky, but because he is scanning us, to the humans are Forerunners point, he knows we are the same genus, if not the exact same species. He knows that we are Forerunner. We are human. Humans are Forerunner. And thus, we should have fancy Forerunner weapons.
Hustling. You brought such ineffective weapons to combat the Flood, despite the containment protocols.
There is one thing from the new 343 Forerunner book saga that I did love, is the idea of the Gesh. It comes from Irish folklore, and it's the idea that there could be this guiding force that in some ways is like a curse, but also a gift. They went with the word Gesh, but you could also think concepts like the Oversoul and Zoroastrian ideas, that there's some sort of subconscious guiding thing in our minds, and in the Halo lore that was placed in the reseeded humans. Or with the whole panpsychic idea, it was just continued, it was perpetuated, it was preserved alongside the physical matter. They also added this sort of spiritual aspect to the flesh, as not doing so would mean you weren't really making humans. And it's this kind of soul of mankind that after firing the Halo, it made us have this innate drive to explore, to tinker, and to look up and want to spread through the stars. But also down to very specific things like wanting to make armored exosuits. And so Guilty Spark here, seeing Master Chief being a human in an exosuit, he seemed thoroughly Forerunner. Some of my favorite philosophers say that we should be called something like Homo Technis, that it's obviously our use of technology that separates us, that it has this rapid feedback loop on the development of our minds. Everything is a sort of prosthetic. Don't think of prosthetics as just a wooden leg or something. A stick is an extension of our arm, but also a remote-controlled arm on a rover on Mars or something. We developed what are called external memory systems, like writing, and in the newer 343 era Halo books, the Forerunner's suits helped them live for millennia, allowing them to explore even more. The Forerunner were used to having these digital life aids, everyone from a normal person up to warriors and life workers. And so this Geash, this drive that was instilled in us, has culminated in Chief, who has both human biology, but he has an AI partner, and is in this life support armored suit.
These Sentinels will supplement your combat systems, but I don't have you eliminate the least practical combat scheme. Your current target wing scans is a class 2, which is ill-suited for this kind of work.
Any hints at how much the Flood can alter?
Your environment should serve you well when the Flood begins to alter the atmosphere. You are a good planner.
They eventually change whole biomes and worlds, not just individual beings, which we would see in the later games.
Naturally, the Flood is simply too dangerous to release, and mass sterilization may need to be enacted. Of course, several have after the last catastrophic effort for a study. It seems that decision may have been the word. The installation was specifically built to study and contain the Flood. Their survival as a race was dependent upon it. I am grateful to see that some of them survived to reproduce. The Flood are already hard at work preparing your vessel. Its parasitic nature belongs to Flood's intelligence.
This means that although you might think it is parasitic, that it can only use other things, that it can never make anything new, well, that's wrong. With enough biomass, the Flood gets more intelligent, creates their own tools, and developed complicated tactics that eventually bested the great Forerunners.
The energy barrier surrounding the index will deactivate when we reach the ground floor. You may now retrieve the index. Protocol requires that I take possession of the index for transport. Your organic form renders you vulnerable to infection. The index must not fall into the hands of the Flood before we reach the control room and activate the installation. The Flood is spreading. We must hurry. which means that any organism with sufficient mass and cognitive capability is a potential vector. Is something wrong?
No, nothing.
Splendid, shall we? Unfortunately, my usefulness to this particular endeavor has come to an end. Protocol does not allow units with my classification to perform a task as important as the reunification of the index with the core. That final step is reserved for you, Reclaimer. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh, really?
Cortana.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum? Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the Flood, which is why we brought the index to the control center.
You mean this?
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
Sod off!
What impertinence! I shall purge you at once.
You sure that's a good idea?
How dare you? Oh!
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough! The Flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out.
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it? Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life. You don't believe me? Ask him.
Is it true?
More or less. Technically, this installation's pulse has a maximum effective radius of 25,000 light years. But once the others follow suit, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life. Or at least any life with sufficient biomass to sustain the Flood. But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you?
Left out that little detail, did he?
We have followed outbreak containment procedure to the letter. You were with me each step of the way as we managed this crisis.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go, right now.
Last time you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
Get us out of here.
If you are unwilling to help, I will simply find another. Still, I must have the index. Give your construct to me, or I will be forced to take her from you.
That's not going to happen.
So be it. Save his head. Dispose of the rest.
Look out! We can't let the Monitor activate Halo. We have to stop him. We have to destroy Halo. According to my analysis of the available data, I believe the best course of action is somewhat risky. An explosion of sufficient size will help destabilize the ring, and will cut through a number of primary systems. We need to trigger a detonation on a large scale, however. A starship's fusion reactors going critical would do the job. I'm going to search what's left of the Covenant BattleNet and see if I can locate the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. If the ship's fusion reactors are still relatively intact, we can use them to destroy Halo.
So really I've already touched on most of this lore drop here, but notice again Guilty Spark doesn't just think we are Forerunner, but he even seems to think that we are the exact same person that activated Halo last time. But now we have to find our way out. The Sentinels are our enemy, and the humming, happy little Monitor is seeking to purge all intelligent life in the galaxy. Though I should note the wording here in the most original framing of how this weapon works, the sufficient biomass. This would include plants, like enormous trees, which cannot be controlled like animals can, and they don't have a nervous system, but they end up just being used as essentially a food source. That's how you get blight lands, and how, like hinted at before, that they can change an entire atmosphere. There would be less oxygen on our world or Halo ring, after the flood had reduced all the forests into these grotesque, sprawling, fungal, pus-like coating that's just pulsing away and drawing out any useful minerals and nutrients. Just like our body even needs things like metals, and how we can convert plant mass into muscle and neurons. Same thing with the flood, just by much odder means. Though to be fair, if we were looking at our stomachs and intestines, if they weren't covered in this nice skin sheath, it might be about as equally horrific. And they plan to buy time.
I haven't located the crash site yet, but we need to buy some time, in case the Monitor or his Sentinels find a way to activate Halo's final weapon without the Index. The machinery in these canyons are Halo's primary firing mechanisms. They consist of 3 phase pulse generators that amplify Halo's signal and allow it to fire deep into space. The power levels are enormous. I can't even begin to calculate the pulse's range. So, if we damage or destroy these generators, the Monitor will need to repair them before Halo can be used. That should buy us some time. I'm marking the location of the nearest pulse generator with a nav point. We need to move in and neutralize the device.
Now descending back into a snowy cavern, seemingly free of the flood, at least for now.
Wait, we should commandeer one of those Banshees. We'll need it to reach the pulse generator in time. Moving. The nav point marks our target. That's the pulse generator. The center core is the signal amplifier. That's what we need to shut down. We need to interrupt the pulse generator's energy stream. I've adjusted your shield system so that it will deliver an EMP burst to disrupt the generator, but you'll need to walk into the beam to trigger it. The EMP blast should... Objective accomplished. The pulse generator has overloaded. Scanning. The generator's central core is offline. Well done. The second pulse generator is located in the adjacent canyon. Move out and I'll mark the target with a nav point when we get closer.
It is the standard clear the enemy fare for a while, until we do see that the flood has spread here as well. Where we used to see pockets of marine survivors, we now see the disfigured, contorted monsters that killed and puppeteered them. And now, to be honest, this is not exactly a fetch quest, and it might feel more like filler if it wasn't for the ambiance, the sound design, and just everything being so perfect and fitting for the narrative that it somehow is both incredibly epic and lonely.
I've located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1,200 kilometers upspin. Energy readings show her fusion reactors are still powered up. That tunnel leads to the next section of canyon. The final pulse generator we need to destroy is through there.
Let's find a ride and get to the captain.
No, that'll take too long.
You have a better idea?
There's a teleportation grid that runs throughout Halo. That's how the monitor moves about so quickly. I learned how to tap into the grid when I was in the control center. Unfortunately, each jump requires a rather consequential expenditure of energy.
Something tells me I'm not gonna like this.
But I'm pretty sure I can pull it from your suit without permanently damaging your shields. Needless to say, I think we should only try this once.
Do it.
The Covenant network is absolute chaos. From what I've been able to piece together, their leadership ordered all ships to abandon Halo when they found the Flood, but they were too late. The Flood overwhelmed this cruiser and disabled it. The Covenant are terrified the Flood will repair the ship and use it to escape from Halo. They've sent in a strike team to neutralize the Flood and repair the ship for immediate departure. I've got a good lock on Captain Key's CNI transponder signal. He's alive, and the implants are intact. There's some interference from the cruiser's damaged reactor. I'll bring us in as close as I can. Oh, I see. The coordinate data needs to be... Right. Sorry.
We are once again trying to free Keyes from a Covenant cruiser, but this time we aren't the only attackers. We see details like how persistent the Flood are, fighting without arms or weapons, even persisting after chunks are blown off. After the jump and navigating some of the most alien-feeling terrain yet, we again use the gravity lift. And inside, Cortana notices what we would later understand as the accumulation of biomass, evolving up into the next, more intelligent stage of the Flood.
Look, in the corners. The Flood are gathering bodies here. He's delirious. In pain. We have to find him.
Now, I don't know if you're hearing it too, but it sounds more like Cortana wants to get there for her own reasons. Keyes doesn't sound delirious to me at all. He is clearly saying, I gave you an order to pull out, that he doesn't want Chief and Cortana to risk being captured for this, but because he has that chip in his head, we need to get to him so that we have the rights to override the reactors on the Pillar of Autumn in order to destroy Halo. Keyes is unaware of these plans, so we all might agree with Cortana here, but you gotta point out that it's another area where she is not being some honest, open AI that only serves and obeys us. Remember, she altered herself to be a match for Chief, and is just lying here to try and get us to deny a direct order from a superior, because of what she dubs as her having better judgment.
The captain! His vitals are fading. Please, Chief, hurry! No human life signs detected. The captain, he's one of them. We can't let the Flood get off this ring. You know what he'd expect... what he'd want us to do. It's done. I have the code. We should go. We need to get back to the Pillar of Autumn. Let's go back to the shuttle bay and find a ride.
With this, we'd lose the man that spoke those first words in our experience with this great game, and he would remain as one of the most memorable deaths in the entire franchise. I know I keep harping on this, but even Cortana can do life scans, Monitors and other Forerunner tech can tell us what is and isn't human. Forerunner were human.
It'll hold.
We're not gonna make it!
We'll make it.
Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you? We need to get to the bridge. From there, we can use the captain's neural implants to initiate an overload of the ship's fusion engines. The explosion should damage enough systems below it to destroy the ring.
In a lesson on great game design, we are back where we started. But everything looks worse than ever, and all of our old and new friends are here, from the Covenant, now to the Flood and Sentinels.
I need you to upload it into the control systems. The terminal is located next to the main view screen. I leave home for a few days and look what happens. This won't take long.
There. That should give us enough time to make it to a lifeboat and put some distance between ourselves and Halo before the detonation.
I'm afraid that's out of the question, really.
Oh, hell.
Ridiculous! That you would imbue a warship's AI with such a wealth of knowledge? Weren't you worried it might be captured? Or destroyed?
He's in my data arrays, a local tab.
You can't imagine how exciting this is! To have a record of all of our lost time! Human history, is it? Fascinating.
A record of all our lost time. Human history, is it? Obviously, the Forerunner did not speak 21st century English. I couldn't even understand my own English ancestors from a few hundred years ago, so this is all translation, but it's our history. Chief's history and Guilty Spark's history is our human history. Like any other language, they use a different word for it, but this shows he's talking about the same thing: humanity. With so few words, we also get this great sense of Spark's character.
You can't imagine how exciting this is! To have a record of all of our lost time! Human history, is it? Fascinating. Oh, how I will enjoy every moment of its categorization! To think that you would destroy this installation as well as this record! I am shocked. Almost too shocked for words.
He comes off as losing his mind a bit, but he is an intelligent AI that wants to record information. A voracious mind, like how in 2019, the Arch mission sent a 30 million page library, data from books, all sorts of images, a copy of the entire English Wikipedia. They sent that to the moon as a sort of preservation of human culture. And there's similar projects that want to do something similar with our entire genetic code, like an Ark that preserves both life and the culture and history. And all that's just a continuation of the 1977 Voyager Golden Record. It's all playing with a similar idea here, except with Guilty Spark, it is our long-lost ancestor who gets to catch up on lost time. Imagine an AI which can process all of this information at insane speeds, with a truly curious personality to match, The joy of this opportunity after being locked away for eons really does come through in his voice here.
Restart the self-destruct sequence.
Why do you continue to fight us, Reclaimer? You cannot win. Give us the construct, and I will endeavor to make your death relatively painless and...
At least I still have control over the comm channels.
Where is he?
I'm detecting taps throughout the ship. Sentinels, most likely. As for the monitor...
He's in engineering. He must be trying to take the core offline. Even if I could get the countdown restarted, I don't know what to do.
How much firepower would you need to crack one of the engine shields?
Not much. A well-placed grenade, perhaps, but why... Okay, I'm coming with you. Chief, Sentinels!
And yes, that is a comically large grenade. Of all the little things I've forgotten over the years, I don't know why I remembered this. But the fight continues through our old ship.
Engine room located. We're here. Alert! The monitor has disabled all command access. We can't restart the countdown. The only remaining option is to detonate the ship's fusion reactors. That should do enough damage to destroy Halo. Don't worry, I have access to all of the reactor schematics and procedures. I'll walk you through it. First, we need to pull back the exhaust couplings. That will expose a shaft that leads to the primary fusion drive core. That did it! The engine's gone critical. Based on the current rate of decay, we should have 15 minutes to get off the ship. We don't have much time. We should move outside and signal for evac. Accessing schematics. There's a service lift at the top of the engine. It leads to a Class 7 service corridor that runs along the ship's dorsal structure. Hurry!
Cortana to Echo 419. Come in, Echo 419. Roger, Cortana. I read you 555. The Pillar of Autumn's engines are going critical, Fohammer. Request immediate extraction. Approach the crash site and be ready to pick us up at External Access Junction 4C as soon as you get my signal. Affirmative. Echo 419 going on station. Echo 419 to Cortana. Things are getting noisy down there. Everything okay? Negative. We have a Wildcat destabilization of the ship's fusion core. The engines must have sustained more damage than we thought.
Analyzing. We have 6 minutes before the fusion drives detonate. We need to evac now. Activating final countdown. When it reaches 0, the engines will detonate. The explosion will generate a temperature of almost 100 million degrees. Don't leave those.
Now, this is one of the greatest, but most infamous moments where the lore people know they are going too far, but just having fun with it. Obviously, this whole scene is just to be cool, and it is incredibly cool. Games need to be good games first and foremost. I have a whole lore channel, but lore should be coming second. Of course, the Halo community has made extensive maps of the Warthog run, just to show how long it is compared to the actual length of the ship. It makes no sense, and that's fine. It's still one of the most iconic moments in all of gaming. Again, kind of coming full circle to how odd it was to drive this thing in the earliest of the alpha versions of this game. They knew they wanted the Warthog to be a major part, and liked how unique it was. Those bugs or features really add to the panic, and thus great memories are created with this scene.
Cortana to Echo 419. 2 Covenant Banshees are approaching on your 6. Evade. Say again, evade. I'm hit. Mayday. Airport customers, shut the hell. I can't hold on.
Echo 419! She's gone. Calculating alternate escape route. Ship's inventory shows one long-term fighter is still docked in Launch Bay 7. If we move now, we can make it.
As epic as the run is, you can't forget this little guy.
Good thing that food nipple's waiting for me at the starship, because, man, if I worked up a big, scratchy thirst.
And the leap of faith.
Need them later. Fancy a look?
Did anyone else make it?
Scanning. Just dust and echoes. We're all that's left. We did what we had to do for Earth. An entire Covenant armada obliterated, and the Flood. We had no choice. Halo, it's finished.
No. I think we're just getting started.
I think we're just getting started could not have been a better line to end on, and I want to end this by really stressing what a real-world impact this game had. Again, this came out 25 years ago, a quarter century. First-person shooters were a PC thing, and I'm surprised by this, but with all the research I did, it seems like that while GoldenEye in 1997 for the N64 was revolutionary as a console FPS, have fun trying to play that today. It's crazy how something that we grew up with and mastered can feel so alien. With this only one joystick, the DualShock of the PS2 is where we can say that the modern feeling FPS games come from. But classics like Medal of Honor Frontline came out in 2002, about 6 months after Halo. Only Alien Resurrection and Time Splitters of 2000 can claim to be of the first dual-stick controlled console FPS games. But Halo added crucial things like slight aim assist, better action buttons, vehicles, far more complex enemy AI systems, and personalities. Grunts flee when you kill their commander, and even the shield regeneration is something that we now take for granted. Essentially health regen that wasn't stuck to the old simpler style of just running and gunning, shooting enemies that really just react to you and shoot back, all acting the same way, and you're just trying to look for health packs. Bungie developed something that really invited tactical play, and which would be necessary for the legendary difficulty, which became legendary in gaming. So it helped define a genre of getting away from the Quake 90s style FPS games. And of course, it is no exaggeration to say that Halo made Xbox.
Hi, I'm Joe Fielder. I'm the site director of GameSpot. I'm here today to talk to you about Halo from Bungie. You might have seen some of the things I've written about Halo in the past. I've written a few columns, one of which I talked about how when I first got the game, I played it for about 10 hours straight. I got the game about 8 o'clock at night, started playing, played till 6 o'clock in the morning, and the next night played from about midnight to 6 in the morning. It's one of those games that compels you to pull all-nighters. It's that good. People who have been looking for the last few years for a game as good as Half-Life or Rare's GoldenEye 007 will be pretty pleased to learn that they don't really need to look anymore. It's here. It's Halo.
Citizens of the world, we are in deep doo-doo. Aliens. There's a lot of them, and they're meanies. As peace-loving humans, we must take up arms. And by arms, I mean guns. United, we will form a giant can opener. And we will open a giant can of whoop-ass.
Halo, Combat Evolved.
This one game gave them a character that became as iconic as Mario, and this was the greatest of console exclusives, because it worked so well in multiplayer. There were always great PlayStation exclusives, things like Metal Gear are the best games of all time, but there's just something that's so much more influential when you feel like you're missing out on online play and LAN parties that really made you want to get an Xbox. It even shaped YouTube itself, as things like finding skulls, tips for how to beat Legendary, And of course, the Red vs. Blue series exploded.
Hey, yeah? You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here? I mean, are we the product of some cosmic coincidence, or is there really a God watching everything, with a plan for us and stuff? I don't know, man, but it keeps me up at night. What? I mean, why are we out here, in this canyon?
Machinima started with Quake in 1996 with Diary of a Camper. But just like how Halo didn't create the FPS console, it so popularized this that when many people, including myself, think of Machinima, we think of Rooster Teeth and those earliest of YouTube days. It's just so cool. And now after all this, y'all might think fraud alert here, but I actually didn't have an original Xbox. My cousins did, and this might sound weird, but only being able to visit Halo made it so much more mysterious. And I think it was just always multiplayer. The first time I played through the campaign was with a friend of mine on PC, and that didn't come out until 2003. So at the earliest, I was 12, which is perfect Halo age, really. And of course, when Xbox 360 came out in 2005, I vividly remember going back to a Target because it had the red ring of death.
Dude, I just fucking bought this goddamn Xbox yesterday, dude.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Son of a bitch.
Alright, try it.
Fuck. You gotta be fucking with me. Damn it! God, motherfucker! Fucking pissing me off.
And to end on this kind of sad note, I really do feel bad. The way people complain about older generations fumbling things, I feel like my age group really enjoyed the golden age of creativity, from movies to games. It isn't just nostalgia from us because so many of those things just keep being remade. From The Lion King to Halo. I don't have any clue how to fix this, but I just doubt that when I see my cousins all excited about Fortnite, it just seems more hollow, more corporate. It's just uncool and less unique.
Probably the weirdest skin in the last few seasons has been Fabio Sparkle's main, and it's not just because he's a literal unicorn with a six-pack, but a lot of the community think his entire set is a little odd. While there are a ton of people, including me, who love his set and the entire backstory that Epic gave him,
we got to have a fun shooter that's linked to so many tech advances, from local multiplayer to Xbox Live and serious graphic improvements, while having that all attached to this deep and truly unique story that makes it work as a modern mythos. We were the Forerunners, and I think we created the Flood. I get we're going to sound like every other generation throughout time saying stuff has fallen off, but I don't know, there's just something so unique about that era. And I can't believe I'm really going to end on this point. I didn't want to forget it, so it's in my notes. But Dust and Echoes became an inside joke with Halo nerds. Cortana said at the end there that the only thing that survived was dust and echoes.
Did anyone else make it?
Scanning. Just dust and echoes. Just dust and echoes.
Dust and Echoes. We'll go back for them.
We're all that's left.
I think Dust and Echoes was the guy that opened that door in the library.
That's true.
An entire Covenant armada.
You know, I always did want Sergeant Johnson to come out of some little cubbyhole here.
Well, we had a bunch of legendary ending jokes where Sergeant Johnson came out like brushing his teeth, and he came out doing a bunch of funny things, which we couldn't do. Now, the funniest thing about that was, I remember when fans finally were able to go in Halo PC, I think probably, and sort of detach the camera and see what was going on and try to see what was under the Chief's helmet. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the Chief takes off his helmet. He's wearing another helmet.
That joke goes all the way up to the Halo Infinity trailer, where the pilot was said to be that lone survivor, that this mysterious guy must be Dust and Echoes. With that, thanks for watching. Please hit that like button if you made it this far. But most important of all, remember, we are the Forerunners and the Reclaimers, and humanity will prevail. Always.